You all are doing well today. I hope you all had a very, very Merry Christmas, regardless of where you are in the world today. And I wanted to talk to you a bit from a new location that I'm at right now and share with you some insights to get you ladies ready for 2025. So, one of the things that people often struggle with when they are setting their New Year's resolutions and they're thinking about what they want to do for their career is not having a plan in place. They're not quite sure exactly what they need to do or how they need to do it. And so I want to just go over a couple things with you really briefly while I'm waiting for some individuals to join and be able to really answer any questions that you may have to get you ready for next year. 2025 is right around the corner, ladies, and I really want this to be your best year yet. So there's a lot of services, there's a lot of programs and courses that I'm actually going to be launching this year that will be able to help you make 2025 an amazing year. So I'll highlight a few of those probably toward the end of the live stream today. And after that, then we'll see what we can do about trying to help you on your journey. So, one of the things that I was asked a question about, as it relates to 2025 from a client of mine was how do you go about developing your executive presence? And I've done several videos on executive presence here on my YouTube channel. So feel free to take a look at those so you can get some insight in terms of what are some strategies, some techniques that you can do to improve your executive presence. But in this particular live, I want to talk about the one mistake that people tend to make oftentimes as it relates to their executive presence. Because this mistake, I have seen it happen as a C suite executive myself, and as a director and as a manager. I have actually seen CEOs of very large companies or CMOs of companies make this mistake. And it's interesting because it's something that we don't really talk about that much. There's this whole term of executive presence that's out there, and it's almost just we don't know what it is. Like, what does it mean? We have a good grasp of it, but what executive presence truly means is how you are presenting yourself as a leader. And so I know 2025 is coming up, so this is something that I want to make sure that you all have great information to just get you ready for 2025 as it relates to your executive presence and maybe some of the other goals that you're planning to accomplish. So, welcome for join. Thank you everybody for joining. Glad to see you all here. So, I'm actually going into one of the number one reasons that people tend to make a mistake as it relates to their executive presence. And that one mistake that people make is to not be consistent. When people are struggling with their executive presence and they're trying to figure out, well, how do I advance in my career? What am I supposed to do? Why am I not advancing in my career? Why am I being overlooked for promotions? Or why are people just not respecting me at work? I can tell you that most of the time, your executive presence has at some point in time made this mistake. You have not been consistent. And so what happens when you are consistent in your executive presence? It means that regardless of the situation that's going on, whether you're having a fantastic day or you're having a rough day, you are presenting yourself as that same person all of the time. And I know it is very, very hard to do that, especially when maybe your boss is stressing you out or your coworkers are stressing you out. It's hard, right? It's really hard because sometimes it's difficult for us to be able to hide what we're feeling inside and not let it come outside. But this is a key to developing your executive presence is to be consistent. Consistency is the key because when people see this is how this particular person reacts regardless of the situation, whether it's something that is a positive outcome or it might be a bit challenging situation, people will always be able to see that this is how this particular person handles it. So I hope that this is going to be helpful for you because being able to develop your executive presence is something you want to put at the top of your to-do list for 2025 as a woman in leadership if you are really trying to make that advancement in your career. executive presence is something that you have to have as a leader, regardless of what gender you are. You have to have this. But of course, I'm focusing in on the women in leadership, but developing your executive presence is really, really important. So I want to know from you all, what are some thoughts that you all have about your executive presence? Are there any questions you have specifically about developing your executive presence? I want to be able to help you with that while I have a few moments on the live. If you're just now joining, I appreciate you all for being here. And I wanted to just go over the number one reason. Hello, Athena. Thank you so much. No, look, I'm not better than you. We are all unique in our own way. So just keep that in mind. If you have any questions as it relates to your executive presence or how to develop it or be more confident, just let me know in the comments below. Okay, so absolutely, I appreciate you being here. But the reason why people struggle with their executive presence is that they are not consistent. They're just not consistent. They're not able to project themselves the same all the time. And when you look at leaders in your life or in your different fields that you really appreciate, that you want to make sure that are in a good place, or people that you kind of look up to, what are some of the things that you notice about them? There's something that you like about them. There's probably the way that they consistently act in different type of situations and how they maintain or conduct themselves. So just keep that in mind when you're developing your executive presence. Look at people that you're interested in or people that have maybe had an impact on you, and then talk a little bit about what it is that you like about them and try to emulate some of those particular type of skills. So there's a lot of things going on in 2025, I would say, on my end to actually help you be able to enhance your executive presence. Okay, so I appreciate this person that mentioned JW, okay, I need to develop consistency. So the best way to answer your question, I appreciate you for asking that, to develop consistency is the first thing I would do is think about how you want people to perceive you as. So develop that vision in your mind of who that best version of yourself is going to be. Who do you want people to see you as? And once you have that vision in your mind, think about how would this person act in a crisis situation, or how would this person act in a relaxed situation. So I think when you're doing that, it's important. Consistency can be really challenging because we want to be ourselves, and you need to be your authentic selves in your workplace or in your businesses. But there always has to be some form of a boundary there, if that makes sense. Even if you're meeting new people, you can always be friendly, be yourself, but there has to be a little bit of a limit to the amount of information that you share. And they have to see that same type of person every single time, if that makes sense. So that's a good way to develop consistency, is just to remember that you have to have some boundaries when it comes to developing your executive presence. There has to be some boundaries there. So I hope that helps you. If you need some more help with that, I have a lot of great programs I'm doing. And actually, believe it or not, I'm going to be hosting a free masterclass on executive presence in January. I'm going to be hosting a course on executive presence in January. It most likely will be launched, and I'm actually going to have a book on executive presence this year. So if you're wanting to get some help with that, it's always good. Okay, so there's another comment: always starting things and can't see to meet the deadlines also. Okay, so when it comes to situations like that, I would recommend for you to look and see what is the most important thing that you need to accomplish. Because sometimes, especially in a workplace setting, there's a million things that we have going on right now. And we oftentimes are there's too many things that we have. And so we can't get things done. We can't meet the deadlines because sometimes either for ourselves, we don't know what priorities that we need to do and everything's everywhere. Or maybe if you're working for a company or organization, then you would be in a situation where maybe you're not getting the guidance that you need to. So if you are working with a manager and they're not really explaining to you what you need to have done, what you need to have accomplished, what's important, then reconnect with them and make sure you're on the same page, that you can get everything done that they want to have done. But in terms of your own personal deadlines that you may be working on, just determine what's most important to you. Like what is the thing that has to be accomplished today? Because everything that we have does not have to be done at that day. It just really doesn't. You have to kind of phase things out. So JW also mentioned, okay, so limit your obligations. Yes, that is a way to start to develop a healthy boundary of yourself, is to limit those type of obligations that you have. Yeah, because if you don't, it makes it really challenging. Hold on just 1 second. Come here, honey. Sorry, my baby's running around. So yeah, limit your obligations in terms of what you have to do. That is something that many people struggle with as it relates to setting boundaries. People think boundaries are a bad thing sometimes, but they are the best way for you to be able to live your best life. You have to have boundaries at work. You have to have boundaries at home, particularly when you're developing your executive presence and trying to master some of those deadlines. Then boundaries are something that you'll need to do. So setting a limit on your obligations is absolutely what you want to start working on. And you have to think of what's most important to you, because ultimately you have a career, you have a lot of things that you're going to be trying to accomplish. And so you got to work on what you have to do. What is it that you really want to focus in on, and what is it that you really want to accomplish in your career, because ultimately we have one life here, so on this earth, as far as I know. So you want to do just the best you can, and I'm here to help you on your journey, especially as it relates to enhancing your confidence, developing your executive presence, and helping you to master those elite communication skills. That's what I specialize in, especially when I'm working with my clients. So I really appreciate you all for joining today. I hope that this information has been helpful for you, because in a situation where you're trying to develop your executive presence and get ready for 2025, you really want to make sure you're in a good position. And I'm here to help you on that. We're just getting ready to kick off the year, so got a lot of programs going on. I have the Confidence Game Plan, which is a group coaching program that will help you to build your confidence, your public speaking skills, and develop your executive presence, in addition to the courses I mentioned earlier. So J-Dub also mentioned it's frustrating because frustrating leading over 140 people and they all depend on me. I know how that feels. I've done that many times in my career. And so they depend on you, but there's certain aspects of it that you will need to have them depend on themselves to do. And so I think if you start to develop some really good systems in place to help them be able to take care of things while you're not there, that will be a real testament to you as a leader. That's one of the things I mentioned to my clients too, is that your business can do only but so well when you're not there. So if your business can completely function, or your department can completely function with you not being there, then you have done your job. Then your business is self-sustaining. If everybody is still they're still depending on you, which to a certain extent they will be, but you just want to make sure it's not as much as it has to be. I mean, you are the leader. I can tell you're the leader. You are the manager. So it's just a matter of being able to just balance everything out and just finding your space. Because once you take care of yourself, then some of that frustration you're having right now will start to subside, because you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of everybody else. Then one of the things I mentioned, and I appreciate your feedback, it is true. One of the things I mention to my clients all the time, the analogy I use, is that if you're on a plane and the pilot says the plane is going down, the first thing you have to do is what? You're going to have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. The oxygen mask has got to go on you first before you can attempt to even help anybody else. And so just keep that analogy in mind with your career, professionally, personally. I've found that it's helped a lot of my clients be able to do that. So I hope that's helpful. And Jada, appreciate your insight on that. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. There's different ways you can contact me. I'm on LinkedIn, and that's where I spend most of my time, Instagram, and here on YouTube. Just feel free to reach out to me. But I hope this information has been helpful. As I mentioned, there's a lot of other things I'll roll out here very soon. I'll try to be live a bit more, especially as we're going into the new year, so I can make sure I'm getting everybody ready to get started 2025, to really start with an amazing year. There's a lot of services that I have that will really help you. And if you're interviewing for positions or jobs, I have an interview package that I have listed right now on Fiverr at Excite Excellence. That is a great option to help you if you're trying to interview for another role. I will help you ace your interview. So there's a lot of things I want to make sure I'm helping you all with as it relates to getting ready for 2025 as women in leadership. So if you all don't have any other questions, I hope that you have a fantastic day. And once again, I appreciate y'all for subscribing to my channel and being a part of my journey here. And if you have any of your colleagues that need some more assistance as it relates to their confidence, developing their executive presence, and mastering their elite communication skills, then send them over to my channel. There's a lot of content there, and I'd be happy to help them. All right, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.